Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekly show of Classroom Without Walls, a school for entrepreneurs. My name is I'm the CEO of Classroom Without Walls and the host of this weekly live streaming show. On this show, I interview leading social media, digital marketers, entrepreneurs, and business leaders to come here to share with us their best practices so that we can future-proof our businesses. Today, I am extremely excited and honored to have my friends, Jim Fields and Chris Stone on the show to talk about Amazon Live, what you must know. As a live streamer myself, I love everything related to live streaming, especially Amazon Live, because I do not have access to Amazon Live yet. So I have lots of FOMO, curiosity. So I'm really excited about today's conversation. So Jim, he is a digital marketing expert. He's a live streamer, podcaster, and an Amazon influencer. And he is the president of Fusion Marketing. And Chris Stone, he is also a digital marketing expert, Amazon influencer, live streaming live show producer, podcaster, and he's the president of Cast Ahead. And prior to starting his own business, his own thing, he actually worked for Sony for 27 years. I didn't even know that. I was like, wow, impressive. So today we are going to talk about Amazon Live, live streaming, what you need to know. How can you become an Amazon influencer? How can you gain access to Amazon Live? What are the differences between Amazon Live and live streaming on Facebook, for example, the pros and cons, and so much more to talk about. Super excited. As always, a big shout out to StreamYard for being a sponsor of Classroom Without Walls. Over the last 4 years, I have tried all the third-party tools to go live. StreamYard is my favorite. So check out my discount code in the comment section and let me know if you have any questions. We are live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Periscope, on Twitter, and on Twitch, and on YouTube. So let me know in the comment section where you guys are joining us live from, social media-wise and geographically speaking. As you can see, I'm really, really excited. So my friends, welcome to the show.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Dr. I. This is a huge honor for Jim and I. And God, I love your energy. Like it's so infectious. And the great thing about it, and everyone that's watching, it's like, this is who she is. Like I see you on social media. Jim and I have, we've been following you for so long, and this is who you are. It's a complete genuine thing. So it's such an honor to be on your show. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The honor is all mine.
And Chris, I don't know if I told you this. So I originally met through Twitter, through Madeline Scalar's Twitter Smarter Chat.
Right.
And then the first time I went to Social Media Marketing World, this is before I even was a volunteer. I think this was in 2018. I met and we became friends, and she's no different now than she was then. She's always been,
Awesome.
the Energizer professor, we'll call her.
I love that.
But she's just the biggest heart, the nicest person that I can think of, and just so excited to get to join her today. And so, I know we were thrilled when we had her on Dealcasters with Julia McCoy talking about their amazing new book. If you haven't read it yet, you need to. Skip the degree, save the tuition. So and she didn't even pay me to do that.
So I think we can end the show today now. So awesome. So we have quite a few people live with us already. So thank you so much, everyone. So let's dive into your journey. Both of you are live streaming experts. So share with us, how long have you been doing live streaming and what actually brought you into live streaming? And then we're going to dive into Amazon Live. There's so much we can learn from them, everyone. So be excited.
Yeah. So for me, I was actually not long after I had met you, because I think you had already started live streaming in about 2018, maybe even 2017 for you.
Yeah, 17. Yeah.
And I met Kelly Noble, Mirabella, and it was actually at after the Social Media Marketing World event. There was this bus beer trip, you know, and it is National Beer Day, so it's appropriate to talk about that. And so we started talking, and she's like, "Hey, I've got this Facebook group. You know, feel free to join, and we're going to do this live challenge." And you know, and I had seen some of your lives, and I was like, "Am I really ready to do this?" So it made me, you know, as you know, our friend Brian Fanzo, press the damn button and start doing it. And then I started like getting to be a little bit like, you know, popping in on people's shows, because back then, you know, Be Live, you could add people to watch on video. And so that's how Tim Sohn and I met, because he saw me talking on somebody else's live stream, asked me to be a guest on his show. And then it's kind of like, in a sense, the rest is history. So live streaming literally every week since August of 2018, at least once a week, if not more. You know, the Tim and Jim show has over 130 plus episodes. We've had, you've been on the show a couple times. You know, we've had, you know, we got later this month, we actually have Mark Schaefer coming on. Excited about that. Bob Berg's been on our show. And so it was just an amazing thing. And then when I heard about this whole Amazon Live thing from our friend Ross Brand, you know, he put out this YouTube video, like, here's how to go, you know, become an Amazon influencer. And I followed the directions, and it happened so quick. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been approved. I'm an Amazon influencer. And so you know, Chris and I had become friends in I think it was about February of 2020, before everything went crazy. We got to meet in person because we're both in the Atlanta area. And we've been working on some stuff, you know, together, but this like became the opportunity for us to actually do something on camera together. And I couldn't be happier that Chris was willing to come along for the ride.
Oh, it's amazing. You guys are such a great team. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, he dragged me into this thing. I was kicking and screaming, Dr. I had no, I mean, look at Jim. He's just like obviously a terrible person to work with. No, we get along fantastically, and we looked for an opportunity to do something together, and we just didn't know what it was. And Jim kind of went into that, and he called me right after he got approved, and he said, let's do something. And Jim, I want to say like 2 hours later, we had a show. I put together the logo. I put together, you know, some kind of like wacky little thing. And our first guest on Amazon Live was Jennifer Watson from Agora Pulse and the Weather Channel. And, you know, God bless her patience that she had with us, because, you know, what we like to say is, you know, like in the words of Chris Kermitzos from Podfest, is start ugly. And so, you know, Jim and I test through a lot of stuff, and this is a brand new platform. We had no idea that you had to go live at 720p instead of 1080p, but we figured that out while Jennifer waited for us patiently backstage, and so. But I think, you know, and a lot of this we can get into. Amazon Live is when people say that, they turn their head, like, you know, when a dog hears a funny sound.
Yeah,
or
my pug
like
used to do that.
Right. It's like Amazon is a live thing. And so Jim and I really like to go in and test stuff and, you know, pull things apart and put them back together. And of course, there's some pieces left over, you know, but it still works, right? So we want to be able to do that. And that's the way we treated Amazon Live. Like, we're going to create a brand. We're going to create a show. We're going to go live. We're going to treat this like this could be the biggest thing ever. And Dr. I, it's starting to come to where we're going, where it's starting to turn into a really big thing. And we're super happy that we were able to be not first in, but early in on this process. So to answer your question, I haven't been live streaming since the webcam was invented, which is what Jim has clearly stated. But I did work, like, as you said, with the music industry with Sony for many years. So I've been behind the other side of the camera, working with music artists and record labels to develop, you know, people's presence for live streaming for a long period of time. And I also, in my own business, work with people from, you know, the other side of the camera, so to speak. And so for just a few years, I myself have been live streaming and joining people as co-hosts and all of those other things. But I'm thrilled to have this opportunity to be on this platform, which, you know, your show, Dr. I, which probably would have never happened if not for that moment where we met and then we decided to work together on Amazon.
Wow, it's so amazing. I'm going to share my screen in a second to show everyone, your deal casters Amazon Live page, which is really, really great. So here's a comment resonating with what we were talking about earlier. April, thank you for joining us live. Press the button. Totally. And I'm sure everyone can relate. When I look at my very first live streaming show in 2017, I was like, should I just delete that? It was so bad, right? Like everyone can relate. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Well,
So
the thing is like when you first start, maybe hardly anybody's watching anyway, so it's okay, and you'll be the only one that remembers it. So when you go to your second show, you get better. Right?
100%.
And then you get to the third show, you get better. And then by the time people are really watching and leaning into you, you're a pro. You know what you're doing. You're being yourself. You're comfortable. So that's the great thing about starting, with a first video. But it's always good. I don't know if you do this, Dr. I. Do you go back to your first show often and then realize, okay, look how far I've come?
I definitely did that, but not that often because I really hated my very first live streaming show. I don't want to make myself feel even worse about myself. So I was like, yeah, but it was really, really bad. Yeah. So I'm going to share the screen so everyone can take a look at what we were talking about here. So this is your own Amazon Live channel. So tell us more about your channel, Dealcaster, what it's about, what do you talk about? So give us a quick overview.
Yeah. So when Chris and I came up with the idea, and like you said, literally, we probably within a couple hours of me saying I got approved and would he like to join, we came up with this idea of because we were thinking okay, on Amazon, people are looking for deals. So we said, let's just do this Dealcasters. Mm-hmm. And because we both are, live streamers and podcasters, we wanted to center what we talk about was one around the items that help people start and get better at live streaming and podcasting. And second, we wanted to bring on guests that were experts in those areas or authors like yourself and Julia McCoy to talk about books that they have on Amazon and also maybe talk about some of the tech that they use. So we really focused in that space and it's just been it's been fun because we create our own things. Like we did some stuff like during football season. It would be like we do these Monday night pre-game deals sort of thing where we talk about the game and maybe find some deals on tech items and also throw up stuff for whatever teams we're playing. And there's so much opportunity because you can really niche, whatever word you want to use, into that space you're comfortable. So for us, it's tech, and we love playing with the tech. There's always new stuff coming out. Sometimes we have guests that then we end up spending all that money we made from Amazon on the gear that they're talking about.
Exactly. And I think, a lot of people, when you go on to Amazon Live platform, and maybe some people are watching your show and they have no idea. They're doing that dog thing. When you say Amazon Live, if you go to amazon.com/live, wait until the end of the show because Dr. I shows where everybody needs to be tuned in. But when you go there, you'll look at it, and a lot of people are treating it like QVC or the Home Shopping Network. When Jim and I sat down and we were in that first couple hours, we said, this is not what we're doing. This is not us. We're not, we're not going to drill down through products and be whatever, Fast Eddie in the mall trying to sell you something. We can do this, do it effectively, create great content that not only we can make some money from a commission standpoint, but we're comfortable in that space. We can be experts on some things, not everything, but we can bring great guests into the show and they could talk about their stuff. And it's not just your book. It could be the microphone that you're using, which Jim and I might not have. It could be the camera, the lighting, all of the stuff that someone else has that is a thought leader, an influencer, whatever, that they can speak to. And then Amazon, the Amazon customers, thousands, sometimes tens of thousands at once. That's right. On a live stream, tens of thousands of people are watching your stream. Look to you as the expert or look to our guest as the expert on whatever product we're talking about. It's crazy.
It's absolutely crazy. We have quite a few people live with us right now. People are starting asking questions. And I want to share the screen again because I just love how you have the show here. You also have this store, which I think is what makes Amazon Live so unique, because you can really monetize a lot easier compared to other social media platforms. And that's why I'm having big FOMO right now. Like, how can I get access to this? So for people who are really new to this, to Amazon Live, I see that Ali is asking, she herself is an amazing 2 Comma Club winner, ClickFunnels, amazing lady. And she's asking, what is Amazon Live? So maybe we can start with the basic. For people who have never heard of Amazon Live, so what is it about? And how I see other people asking similar questions. How is it different from, like, we are live on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter? So how is it different from YouTube Live, Twitter Live, LinkedIn Live? So please educate us.
Yeah, so I'll start, and then if I miss anything, Chris will definitely back me up because he does a great job of that. So you maybe remember it used to be called the Amazon Affiliate Program. Well, they changed it to the Associates Program. So what that means is you sign up for that first, and I think a lot of times, like, they'd like you to have a website, and then you got like 180 days to like sell so much in Amazon revenue or so many products, and then you're like golden, right? But you get that affiliate link. And so that affiliate link lets you put it, you can share it out on social media, and you're just hoping somebody will click it so you get a little bit of money. Well, then they took it a step further. They said, and I think it's been around for about 3 years, but it wasn't opened up until more recently. And then the influencer program, and it's really, there's a 2-step process. The influencer program, first, you have to be an associate. And then second, they're going to ask you to pick a social media platform. Now, there's only 4 you can choose from. That's Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And I would say your business page. You're not looking for your, I got 5,000 friends on Facebook. That's not going to fly. What you do is you get to pick one. With Twitter and YouTube, they're going to instantly let you know if you were approved or not. They're looking at how many people follow you. Unlike LinkedIn Live, they're not looking to see if you're a live streaming expert. They just want to see that you have a big social following, hence the term influencer. And then you will have the capability, if you're approved, one, you get a shop. Even if you don't have want to go live, you get an Amazon storefront where you're able to put in shoppable photos. You can upload videos. And then if you start live streaming on Amazon, all your past live streams will also be in that shop. Now, you have to have an iOS device, right? It's kind of like Clubhouse. I don't know why. So you can use your iPad or your iPhone to start going live from. But then you can use tools like we use StreamYard to go live on Amazon, but it's kind of a 2-step process. So that's how you get started. And then they have 3 levels. If you're doing the live streaming, you've got the Rising Star, which is your first 90 minutes of streams. And then they kind of review, like, do you have a nice thumbnail? Are you engaging with your audience? And then once you apply and get past the Rising Star level, you become an insider, which is really where the majority of people are at. Insiders, the really neat thing about that is, while your show is live streaming, as long as you don't have like an A-lister going live at the same time, your video of any of the products that you may be talking about, with the exception of like some of the big brands, will be playing on the product page. So I might be looking at, and I know it works on the Focusrite page as an example, which is the interface that I use. Our video is playing on the Focusrite product page and other similar items while people are shopping. And so if they click on that video, now they're watching the show, just like you see here with this lady, and people are able to chat with you, right? In fact, it's funny because you can see the little X. You're always telling people to unmute so they can hear what you're saying, because there's no captioning at this point. And then you get people to follow you. And, if they click on any of those products in the carousel for the next 24 hours, anything they buy on Amazon, you get a percentage anywhere from, I'll say 1 to 10%, 10% for like luxury beauty items. So, we kind of laugh. We've sold tires, we've sold cereal, we've sold like 60 plus Roku sticks, even though we've never talked about any of that stuff. We've talked about the Fire Stick, but never talked about Roku. Chris talks about his Garmin. We've sold quite a few Garmin watches as well. And so it's really just, sometimes we're just explaining. And even if it's not, they go buy something else. That's where it's like, Chris and I did a talk for VidFest. And I think the title of it was like, burn your affiliate links, because this is like taking affiliate links and putting them on steroids.
Like a new level. Can I ask you a question, Jim? Sorry to interrupt. So this lady, she's like, right now we're on the homepage of Amazon Live.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly she is, as what you said earlier, an insider, right? So that's why hers is kind of featured. So we want to kind of move from the influencer to the insider stage. So that is powerful. And second, for all the stuff here, do you actually pre-list them, or is this automatically kind of Amazon selects them?
You pick what you want to put in the carousel. You put up to 40 items in your show carousel, and you do that through the app. And you can add stuff during the show live. You can, take stuff out, and you learn little tricks as you go along to make it easier to manage that. So it really is kind of a two-stage process. You've got to be managing the app while you're also running your show. So that's like, it works out great having a co-host, because we can both kind of like manage that process so that it makes it a much smoother production.
I mean, who's excited about this? I'm like smiling like this. It's exciting. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
No, you're right. You're right to be excited, because Jim and I get excited about it, and we've been trying to evangelize this thing ever since the light bulbs went on in our head back in August, and everyone just sort of is like, bah, 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 and now the light bulbs are going on in other people's heads. And the only thing I would say is, like, that sounds like a lot, but it truly is simple to get yourself set up. And a lot of people who are already entrepreneurs likely have an Amazon Associates account. They're taking a link, and if somebody says, "Hey, what's your favorite?" Insert whatever item, you can like send them an Amazon link, and you're going to get 2 to 10% of whatever the revenue is. That's cool, but if you're burying that in a podcast show notes, or if your YouTube description, or all of that, and it's the equivalent of like if you're driving down a highway and you see a billboard and it's advertising a submarine sandwich. If you're not hungry, you're not going to pull over and buy that submarine sandwich. In Amazon, everyone has come to buy. They want to buy something. They're showing up. They're not coming to be entertained and get all kinds of great information, like the great information that Dr. I has on her show today. They're coming to the mall because they want to buy something. And they go to that product page, and all of a sudden they see a live stream from Jim and Chris, and they're talking about the camera that I'm talking into right now. They click on it, and that's your driver. So that's what's pulling people over, and that's the magic of the whole thing. That's why you see tens of thousands of stream counts and views while you're going live. It really is super impactful, yet not extremely difficult. And Dr. I know there's a number of people that view your show, that listen to your podcast, that do all this, and they're like, well, how do I do what I do right now in my brand, in my business, and be able to implement this on Amazon Live? It feels like, how do I do a different thing? You don't have to do a different thing. We work with a number of influencers. Jim talked about how we also work with other influencers that have been approved by Amazon. And if you're already streaming on YouTube, you're already streaming on Twitter, you're already streaming on Facebook, and you have a show, there's probably products, whether they're microphones, whether they're cameras, whether your guest has a book or whatever, that you can just populate in advance in your carousel, just a multi-stream to Amazon through StreamYard or whatever platform you're using, and all of a sudden you can look in your associates account and you're making a little money while you sleep.
That's like music to our ears, because as a content creator, as a business owner, we're always constantly thinking about, I mean, we all know that running a show is hard work. So if you can actually monetize this just even a little bit, it's such great news. And what you are saying is that we can sell our own stuff, but we can also be selling other people's stuff. That is amazing, right? Books, Allie, I know she just wrote a book, books, swag, and all those things. Wow, that's
And I did want to point out, somebody asked about YouTube, and here's kind of the difference. Chris and I, first episode was in early or late July of 2020. Our second episode was, about a week or two later when we had Jennifer Watson on. We were making money right away. We
wow.
weren't having to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 view hours to monetize our live stream. It's literally the potential for instant monetization. That is what you can't beat when it comes to live streaming. I mean,
Ring the cowbell. I love it.
yeah.
I love it instant. Oh, God. Like for my show, I didn't start to monetize only until recently. That was after like 2 years running the show. So wow, that is incredible. That is
well, and there's a lot of people that have monetized Dr. I, and they've worked, and like you have, for I don't know how long, how many hours goes into that. And even if you've got a great show, it's hard work to get yourself monetized, especially now. And then they tell us what they make a month when they're monetized as a YouTuber, and it's like, wow. You might want to check out Amazon Live, because immediately you're going to see more money than that.
Oh my God. I hope everyone is like dancing on the floor right now. I see that Leslie, she's going to do, like, do you already have access, Leslie? If not, like, apply first. So that's kind of my other question. I think one of you mentioned that you don't need a huge following. So define that for us, because I know when people were applying to go live on LinkedIn, many people had the assumption that you need to have like thousands of followers. It is definitely not true. So for Amazon influencer program, like, what's the number? What's that magic number?
They don't tell us what the magic number is. And we think, and Chris always likes to talk about, we know they move the goalpost, but what we can tell you from people that we do know, that if you've got, if you're an Instagrammer, if you've got a couple thousand followers or more, you probably got a really good chance. YouTube, if you've already got that 1,000, 2,000 subscribers, we know someone who had 2,000 subscribers, they got approved. I had 9,000 Twitter followers, but we know someone that had 5,000. But, it still goes back to what I said earlier. Go with your strongest platform. And if you're not there yet, keep working at it. We know people that got disapproved, applied again. So sometimes maybe it's kind of that whole, they want to see if you're serious, stick to it. And so, but that's one thing they don't tell us how many you need, but that's why I would just say stick with your best platform. It's interesting to me. I really think they, like I said, it's an instant decision with Twitter and with YouTube, but it's up to 5 business days for Instagram and Facebook. So sometimes it makes me think they like those 2 platforms better than the other 2, but that's just something to consider as well.
That's awesome. And so here, people asking, like, do you also, so besides, like a number of followers on different social media channels, so you also must have a website. Is that the case?
Well, I think for the associates program, you have to have a website of some sort. Now, I don't know, maybe your Facebook business page website counts. I had a website when I applied, so I'm not really sure on the answer on that. But because you're already an associate, when you go to apply for the influencer program, they're already looking at the fact that you have that account established, and they're looking strictly at your social platforms. They're not asking any of those questions they asked when you did the associate account. So, we didn't set up a Dealcaster's website initially. We were going off of my, my original associates account, which was tied to fusionmarketing.com. And it was like, literally, I watched Ross Brand's YouTube video, and within, 30 minutes, I was an Amazon influencer.
Wow, that's like, I'm so excited. I will share my screen again. So I see that people have quite a few questions about this. And so here is the Amazon Live page. And so do we just apply as an influencer, just like that?
Yep. Make sure you've got an associates account first, and then apply as an influencer. And if you click that, it's quite literally the next page says pick one of these 4 platforms, and it's the 4 social media platforms that Jim was talking about. And you could be an influencer. That's it right there. You would just get started, and you'll get approved. And
you're off to the Amazon races.
Wow. Like,
I will say this is it, and I know we're kind of like we're glorifying this, and there are some great things. And I don't know if Jim, if we talked about the 24-hour cookie aspect of this, but anytime someone watches your show, Dr. I, and they click on one of the items, if they're not interested in that item, and instead they want to go buy, diapers and milk and I don't know, a cutting board, we get the commission revenue from those items as well because they clicked on our stuff for the next 24 hours. And if they stick it in their cart for 90 days, we will get commission. Or if they decide to purchase that item that's in their cart for the next 90 days, we will receive commission for that. But there's a few things that you should know. So Allie and the others that are thinking about applying or maybe already have, Amazon, it's a small team that's working on this, and this is early days, and so there's a lot of things like moving goalposts and things that are changing and all of that. One of the things that we're trying to do as a workaround is, Amazon, the shop page that they give you is not a great URL. It's like amazon.com/shop/ whatever your social media platform was that you submitted. So if your Twitter handle is, bleep bloppy blop blop terrible SEO or whatever it is, that's what your shop page is going to be. So you have to be a little bit tactical about that as well. And so what Jim and I have done is, if you were to say, hey, go catch Dealcasters on Amazon, you should be able to Google it and then find your way there. But it wasn't until we created a redirect link that drove people there that really started to ramp up everything for us, including our SEO. So really what we'd like to do is, the URL that we had, Jim, I don't even remember what it is, but it's like lots of numbers and characters.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, no one's going to click on that. Like if we say, hey, go follow us at bleep blop, no one's going to do that. Or, Bitly or Rebrandly, those are great, platforms, and we use them for other things. But like really, go follow us at bit.ly/ no one's doing that. So we went and bought the domain dealcasters.live. And so we can just say, if we're on Clubhouse, if we're on Twitter Spaces, if we're on Dr. I's live stream, the best live stream in the world, we can say, go to dealcasters.live and you hit our show. And so that's what we do. And so you have to operate, when you become an Amazon influencer, you have to operate and think about this as rented land, right? And so I know, Dr. I, you talk to a number of entrepreneurs, a number of influencers. Like, these platforms are massive. These platforms will really help you, and you need to lean into them and get as much as you can out of them. But you also need to know at any point in time, it could be gone. And so you have to say, okay, if that happens, I still have something. And so we want to be able to create something off of the rented land, which includes the branding, it includes the swag, it includes everything that we're able to do on Dealcasters Live outside of Amazon. But yet at the same time, make Amazon feel like we're driving traffic to them as well.
Wow, it's such a great tip. I'm like, tonight I'm going to apply and purchase a domain for myself. Great idea. Yeah. Do you have something else to add, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chris brings up a great point. And what's interesting is, so when we first started, right, we had the shop page, and we started the show, and we even eventually, like at first, we didn't realize the show name could be different than the shop name, and so so we did that. And then what we've done as we've progressed is now our Dealcasters has its own socials. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we have a LinkedIn company page, we're on Twitch, we're on we actually, Chris just put us on TikTok, we have a Pinterest page, so we've gotten in all the socials, because what Amazon wants you to do, and they say this, they want you to repurpose that content. And we have a YouTube channel as well, and we've done some shorts. So it's like, we call it a content flywheel. And so we take these live shows, we repurpose them, we put them on our other socials to get people to come back and watch those previous episodes, because those episodes stay out there. And so people can always go back and watch. And guess what? If they're watching on Amazon, that carousel is still an active process. If they click on it, right, they've now bought into the cookies and milk, as we like to call it. So it's
So
really been amazing and fascinating.
sorry to interrupt you. So even when people are watching the replay, the carousel will be there for people to purchase.
Yes.
Wow, I thought it was only available when you actually go live. That is like no brainer for people to not give this a try. That is absolutely right. Yeah.
Well, and one other thing that we would add is, you get that shop page that we talked about. On that shop page, you can create videos that you upload onto the platform. And those could be videos that maybe you've edited talking about one particular product from your live stream. And then you give it a thumbnail and upload it onto your page. So you have individual videos, and you probably saw a few that are on our page. If you upload 10 or more onto your page, they start showing up on those products. So you've seen a product on Amazon where you start scrolling down and you see those videos that show up at the bottom with people talking about that particular product. That's how you do it. So go, you create it on your shop page, get 10 or more, and those product videos show up, and that is another way to just make money while you sleep.
Wow, right? Like retire. That's why my dream has come true earlier. So I want to answer kind of this question. So from Leslie, she actually did have access to Amazon Live, and she has the app, but then she got confused. So I think she got confused regarding what to talk about, which is actually one of my questions, because I thought on Amazon, which is like people are shopping for stuff, the only thing you can talk about is like mugs, swag, like e-commerce. So are you guys saying that we don't have to limit ourselves to talking about those physical products? We can also talk about what we are talking about now, education. So give us some ideas in terms of what to talk about.
Yeah. So as an example, the show that I'm helping produce for, Denise Carabell, she's doing art projects. She's showing these kids how to paint a bicycle, and that's what she's doing. And then the products that you need to paint the bicycle are in the carousel. Every once in a while, she might say, hey, I'm using this item. It's in there. We interviewed Mitch Jackson. We talked about Mitch's book, The Ultimate Guide to Social Media. He talked about some of the things he uses to do his social media. He talked about the GoPro, but it was more of a natural conversation as opposed to like, hey, go down below and click this and buy this now. That there are some people that are doing that. It's kind of that whole QVC HSN, but we wanted it to make it more natural. So like if you were to bring on, someone that's doing something amazing in like the classroom without walls space, right? Maybe they have a book, but you could also be almost like giving a history lesson, say, these are these books that I read to learn these things. It really comes up to your imagination. I mean, we have a guy we know he was on his Harley the other day, right? And he was live streaming while on his Harley, talking about things. So it's, and it's really, right. It's like Chris likes to talk about pattern interrupt. Like we got to catch people's attention. And especially because what a lot of people don't realize, Amazon is the largest product search engine in the United States. I won't say the world because that may be Alibaba, but it's outpaced Google for when people search for products. So if you're on there, you're talking about the product, now people get some interest because they can chat with you, right? They could say like, hey, can you tell me a little bit more about that microphone? Or, or they may see something like, I'm looking for something similar. Not only can you talk to them in real time, you could even go and find the product and add it to your carousel and say, hey, here's another good monitor or microphone that fits your needs. So it's a little bit of a customer service thing. We kind of equate it to like when you go to Costco and you got the person standing at the little kiosk that you're able to help them along their shopping journey. So that's where I think we do it different than maybe some others. I mean, we do have sometimes where it's just Chris and I talking about stuff, but even then we kind of have an idea of what are the things we want to really talk about. Or it might be like, hey, there's a really good thing. It's on sale. We want people to know about it, sort of a thing. But it's also, we'll also talk about like, we'll talk about mic technique. We'll show people the difference between a lapel mic and, a mic like this, if they're doing virtual presentations. So we do it as a way to educate people as well.
Right. Yeah, and plus, I don't know if Allie and her show and what she does involves a guest. So, obviously, Dr. I, the show that you were on with us involved you and Julia, and we had a topic. We were talking about the book, and it was a fantastic conversation. But when Jim and I first started, how many people have asked you, Doctor, hey, can you be on my podcast, right? And of course, everyone thinks, oh, everyone has a podcast, right? And so you start to think about your dream guest. Is it Seth Godin? Is it Oprah Winfrey? Is it, who's your dream guest for whatever your podcast is? Well, if everyone has a podcast, which is not totally true. I mean, there's 2 million podcasts and maybe 40% of those are really kind of active. So not everyone has a podcast or, necessarily a good podcast. But the fact of the matter is we believe that there's less than 1,000 influencers on this platform.
Wow.
And of those 1,000 live influencers, maybe 30, 40%, I don't know, 80-20 rule or whatever, are the ones that are really leaning into it, like Jim and I are leaning into it. So when we started asking our guests, and then we started thinking, like, who would we want to be on this show? And, Jim and I are talking, and we're like, I don't know, maybe we ask Chris Kremitzos, who's the head of Podfest Multimedia, who wrote the book Stay Ugly. He's just like a massive entrepreneur. And I was like, let's give it a shot. Will you be on my Amazon show? He answered instantly, yes. Dave Jackson, Jennifer Watson, Dr. I, Julia McCoy. See what I did there? But we've if we just had an audio podcast, Dr. I, I'm not so sure we would have had the interest that we've had because we're on, quote unquote, exotic new platform. So there's an advantage for you as an entrepreneur, as a content creator to say, hey, I'm going to think of the 5 dream guests that I would have on my show. And if you have those people on your show on Amazon, you better believe people are going to be tuning in and watching.
Well, it's such a great point. I know when Jim asked me if I and Julia McCoy wanted to be on your show on Amazon, I was like, what is that? Yes, I did. It just felt like so special. I'm so curious about this. You want to check it out. So absolutely, Chris, you are right. It makes a huge difference because, you are right. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. Yeah.
Well, and you made our show better. It was just such a great thing. And we touched a little bit on repurposing. Another advantage of you, if you're already live streaming, you're already maybe podcasting or whatever. Jim and I take this content and we spread it out everywhere, including an audio podcast. So, it's available everywhere, Apple, Spotify, wherever, including the latest interview from Dr. I and Julia McCoy on that fantastic new book. And so why not take this content you're already doing and just quickly, add it to your workflow, add another revenue stream for you? Because how many of these live streams have we done, Dr. I, that you don't see, you hope maybe it turns into something, right?
Oh,
maybe, yeah, right? Now you go into your account the next day and you see how many people clicked, how many purchases, how many ships, and it's nice.
Oh my God. I think I can't sleep tonight, Chris and Jim. I'm so fired up, seriously. Yeah. I want to share my screen again because I see here on Amazon, on their homepage, so they have different categories. And here is Live Now. And you see, I only follow one. That's you.
Yeah, that's the only one you need. No, I'm kidding.
Seriously, less is more. That's the only one I need. And they have different categories. So tell us more about those different categories. So are those categories kind of pre-created? So how can let's say that once I schedule a live stream, so how can I make sure that my live stream is actually included as part of, in different categories? Is there a guarantee? Because yesterday I actually saw yours and it's under I think upcoming live or something. I actually saw yours. And so tell us more about those categories and how can we have our own scheduled live stream show up in one of those categories?
So the featured creators is going to be those folks that are on the A list. And then they have come out with this new category for Black creators, and so that's where we get the featured Black creators. Then you start to get into like the Get Fit at Home is really an Amazon branded thing. These are people working out, right? And they get a lot of views, and they're selling fitness gear. Pretty much everyone's going to come in once they get it to the insider level into the upcoming streams, and that's really kind of a chronological order thing. And usually what'll happen is, like, if we were to post, like we have a show on Friday at noon with Kurt Mercadantis, that won't show up till 24 hours before we go live. And then, Amazon Live, once again, is the Amazon brand. But then what they're going to do is they kind of look at what's in your carousel. That's going to determine where they place your live stream. And so, we've had a couple times, like based on who our guest was, because maybe we didn't have a lot of tech gear in there, they put us in media, right? Sometimes we're in electronics. So you're not necessarily always going to be in the same category depending on what the topic of your show is.
Yeah, and so the carousel is like it's 12 deep. And so basically what happens is you get to the end of your live stream, and like Jim says, if maybe you were talking mostly about home products, they're going to pop you into the home category right after you're done. And so, but the next person who's live jumps down next to you, and there's only 12 spots. And so that you just kind of tick down as more content creators finish their shows, and you go back in. So some of the more popular categories: fitness, beauty, home. Those are the big ones. You're probably not going to live as long in that carousel because there's only 12 spots, and more people are going live, so you get ticked down. But media is a little. There's not as much competition there, so you may live longer in there and maybe get more replays as a result.
Yeah, I hope they will create a category for education. I want to dominate that category.
Yeah, you should own it. It should only be yours. I mean, what else do you need?
Yeah, so it's actually depending on a combination of the content you are talking about, the stuff you are putting into your carousel, the kind of the store. So based on that, will be decided if okay, that's great to know. So how likely yours is always being featured on the front page in one of the categories?
It's it really has depended. I mean, we've had some shows. We had one show that for like 2 days we continued to get views on. We had about 1,000 people watch it live, and because it was a lot of books too, right? And that might have been why that previous live stream like stayed on these book pages. We ended up with 9,000 viewers, 8,000 on replay.
Wow.
Doesn't happen all the time, but that's the sort of thing that can happen. But then that's why I think we're really excited that they created the creators you follow category, because now like you saw that, you'll always see our latest live stream in your carousel because you're following us. And so that's part of the incentive to get people to follow you is like, hey, if you want to see when we're live, unless you go to dealcasters.live, you follow us, and then you're able to see us in that carousel.
Yeah, I love how Amazon make it so easier to spotlight the creators. And on top of that, when people are there, they have the intention to purchase some things, like win-win situation. Yeah. So here's another good question from Leslie. She's asking actually one of my questions. Is there a length requirement? I know on LinkedIn, when you go live, they kind of recommend at least 10 minutes. So how about on Amazon Live? Like, do you guys know? Can I have a number?
Well, they like you to go longer. And so, if you can go close, to an hour, I mean, they don't tell you. We always like to hear from them what they like, because usually when you kind of fall into that lane, you usually end up somehow you get more streams and more placements when you do that. So they like the longer streams. And honestly, Dr. I, we like the longer streams too, because the longer we're doing that, the more clicks we're getting, the more fun we're having. Like last night, we had a lot of fun. So if you go to dealcasters.live, that's all I'm going to say. Maybe Jim talks about that later. But
right.
If we go over an hour, and we don't make it quick, and we make the time in the chat active, we end up getting a lot of people, because you can imagine if you get thousands, tens of thousands of people, that's an active chat. And so the time goes by very quickly. And of course, it's worth your while. The ROI on spending an hour on or more on Amazon is good.
And then I will say that we do know, because we're in this Facebook group of creators. And so once you get approved, Doctor, I will invite you to it. Some of these people, when they were trying to get from Rising Star into Insiders, were doing these short shows. And they told them, like, your show needs to be at least 20 minutes. And then, I want to say they recommend at least 30. But then when you start talking about like the A-list, they really are wanting you to go live for about an hour. But to Chris's point, it usually, for us, like an hour goes quick, because I think we don't feel the pressure of like, oh, we got to get this done because the people watching at home want to go somewhere else. No, people are shopping. And so they're going to, so part of it is, and there's no, I would say, like, what's the right time to go on Amazon? It's really hard to say, right? Because as an example, you've got Mother's Day coming up. You've got Father's Day coming up. When would you want to go on and maybe have a show where you talk about, like we've already been talking about, we'll do a show about like tech for mom, and things that you might buy for your mom for Mother's Day. Would do the same thing for Father's Day. I mean, so you can get creative, come up with ideas. We did a show, like Chris said, last night. We came up with this concept last week, Dealcasters After Dark. It's an 8:00 p.m. show, and it's just me and Chris, right? We're not going to have guests on that show. And we've been amazed at the number of people we've had watch it. Last night was, and I know it was a question you had. That was probably, for me, one of our best shows ever. The engagement was crazy, and they made me take my shirt off.
What?
What's that URL again, Dr. I? Dealcasters.live to watch Jim without that shirt on.
Yeah.
Seriously? Okay. You should have mentioned that as your first sentence. I'm definitely going to check it out. Now I feel bad I missed it because I almost.
But you can watch the replay. I did it in honor of a fellow creator, David. I think it's Nguyen, but he goes by Utechpia. But he's always working out, and he never has a shirt. He literally is just wearing shorts, and he has like a workout stick, and he's always working out. And he said that they disapproved 10 of his videos because he didn't have a shirt on. And I was like, well, I'm going to stand up for my fellow creators. I took my shirt off, and everybody thought it was hilarious. And
oh my God. Did you copy that, Chris? Did you also take off yours? Or?
Oh,
no,
listen,
he was in shock.
No, did I? No. I was like, well, maybe if someone tunes in next time.
Maybe, right?
You never know. Wow, that's so fun.
But it was late. It was after 8:00 at night. So, weird things happen at night.
Well, listen,
totally yourself, like, totally. So how often do you guys actually go live on Amazon? Is there ideal frequency?
I would say, Chris, we're trying to go live at least twice a week. We may start doing it even more frequently, but the Dealcasters After Dark, we decided last week, that's going to definitely be, at least one night, the Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday nights during the week, we're going to go live. We schedule out guests in advance. We have Lois Kramer coming up as well. She's an expert on how to, get booked speaking for money. She's going to be a guest coming up. We're going to talk about her books. So we start working out guests in advance, and then we're starting to like plug in, like, we don't want it to just be guests. So we like, we got to get back to just where Chris and I are. We went live a couple Mondays ago. We just like, we do a weekly morning meeting. It's like, hey, let's go live at 11:30, and we did.
Yeah.
And
we wanted to test out the separate audio tracks in StreamYard, and it was like, well, instead of just testing it, whatever, let's just go live. We're ready. We're about ready to test. So we did it, and it had an impromptu show, and it went. So there's really no idea. I think part of it is, number one, we're testing as much as we can and kind of saying, is this the right time? Saturday afternoon, probably a lot of people are online shopping, right? And so that's a good spot for some shows, but particular types of shows. So what we just decided to do is, like, let's let's be intentional and set up some things that are somewhat regular for us, and not get overwhelmed with all of the analytics, and try to create great content on the platform, because that's really what resonates. And I think that's what Amazon looks at and says, okay, we're going to prop this up, not prop this other person up who really didn't think about what they're doing before they hit the button. But if you're comfortable doing that, you can do that. You can go live at for hours at a time,
24/7,
24/7 if you want. And on Prime Day and on Black Friday, not a bad idea to do, by the way, because everyone's on that platform shopping. And in hindsight, Jim and I went live, 4 different times on Prime Day and Black Friday, and we are looking back at it saying, it should have been more.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love how you are kind of like testing different ideas. So you are consistent, but it's not always like about the same time, but you are testing out different ideas. But I guess with Amazon, you have such a global audience, right? People are shopping. I shop on Amazon. I don't even know, at least 5 times a day, right? Like when I'm taking a break here on Amazon.
So you should always go to dealcasters.live.
You're the perfect customer for us, Doctor.
You go shopping.
Totally. Especially we have a baby coming. So, and my husband and I were purchasing all the baby related stuff. So yeah, Dealcaster, I actually tested it. It was such a smart idea. I want to share my screen. So here we just entered Dealcaster, and I think everyone, you guys gave me lots of homework to do tonight. So dealcaster.live, and we'll be redirected to the Amazon page. That's
right to our latest show. Yep.
That's amazing. So much easier because I was trying to share the link on this show today, but I was like, no, forget about it.
See how ugly that link is up there?
It's way too long, even long. Yeah.
Right. So Dr. I, you can go down to where it shows your previous streams and kind of go back a little bit. On previous streams, there's an arrow to the right, and I think we see somebody familiar there.
Yeah.
That looks a little bit like you and Julia on that particular show. So yeah, you could click on that and share that link as well. But these are, that's all of the past episodes that we've had. Some of them are product related or Ask Me Anything related, but a lot of guests and stuff that we're really proud of, and that's why we're taking that stuff and repurposing it into audio podcasts as well, and trying to get people back to those shows. It's like our own little YouTube channel on the biggest mall of the world.
Totally. Can you create a playlist here? Because right now all the videos are here. Can you actually create a playlist?
I wish.
Oh, no.
That's a great idea.
That's a great recommendation. We'll take that to the Amazon team.
Yeah, now you guys are like influencers, right? Or maybe insiders. So yeah, like tell them. Yeah. So I have a kind of last question. So when you go live on Amazon, can you also restream to LinkedIn, Facebook, and all the other channels? Do you guys do that, or you don't recommend? You just want to bring all the audience to Amazon Live?
We do. I know one of the shows that Chris helps co-produce does go to LinkedIn. We have chosen with ours not to, even though I have LinkedIn Live, because here's the thing, and you've probably heard Rob Balasabas talk about this before. Sure, it's great to get that awareness on these other channels, but we want people to purchase, so we need them. It's kind of like, and Chris is always great about saying this, the party's over on Amazon, so come on over to Amazon. But we do multi-stream. We do choose to go unlisted on YouTube. That's something that we want to have a different strategy with. But yeah, I think it helps. We definitely go to Twitter. I think maybe once in a while we'll bring a few people over. We also go to Twitch. So we definitely multi-stream. That's one of the great things about using StreamYard, that allows us to do that very easily. And and if we wanted to, we could shut off the other channels and just make it go live to Amazon. But the interesting thing is, no matter how much you promote it, like say outside on socials, I don't really think it has that big of an impact. Maybe like some of our friends, like, oh, I didn't realize they were going live. But it's because the people are already on Amazon. It's not like I forgot to promote it, I'm going live on Amazon, and nobody watched.
That's right.
People are watching. It's really an amazing how that works.
We're tactical about it, Dr. I, and like Jim said, you want them in Amazon. Amazon wants them in Amazon, right? So, but we do want to create some FOMO, like you talked earlier at the top of the show. So, like if someone's following us on Facebook, but they don't know anything else, they're not following us anywhere else, and all of a sudden this pops in and they start to join, we want to be able to tell them to go to dealcasters.live. That's where the party is, because if we are talking about someone's book, like the book that you did with Julia, or we are talking to them about a microphone, or we are talking to them, it's like, well, why not be in the place where you could actually buy it if you're interested in it?
That's right.
And so, if it's kind of like we look at the other platforms a little bit like freeloaders in a way. It's like, that's okay. If you want to watch a show and just enjoy it, that's cool, but if you're interested in buying something, come on over here, because we have a direct link right to the shopping cart.
That's right. I mean, I can't wait. Once I get access to Amazon Live, I'm just going to, just go live there all the time. And so exciting.
There are some people doing, like they would take a show like yours. That's what Dan Jordan is doing with his sales show, Christoph Trapp with his podcast. They're multi-streaming it to Amazon. They're not doing anything different other than they're putting products in the carousel. Now, I think at some point, right, because if you're wanting to get a little bit more traction with, sales, that's where you maybe think about your strategy a little bit, because, if you're sitting there talking on LinkedIn and start talking about the carousel, the people are going to be like, what are they talking about? But yeah, there are definitely people doing it, and it makes a lot of sense. Why not get more eyes on the great content you're already creating?
Only when you share the replay link, everyone should just share the Amazon replay link, because people can check out that carousel. So like no brainer. Yeah. I love this. We're already running over time, like an hour. Can you believe? I'm having such a great time. So this is amazing, my friends. I love it. I'm so excited. I'm so fired up. I don't know if you can tell. Right after we finish this, I'm going to apply.
Awesome.
So please do share with us. I have your dealcaster.live. Everyone should check it out. And where can people connect with each of you on social media?
I would say, I'm big on Twitter, at Fusion Marketing, but we're also pretty much, if you go to, at Dealcasters or at Dealcasters Live, you're going to find us there as well. And also on LinkedIn, Jim Fuse. I love connecting on LinkedIn. Personally, Twitter and LinkedIn are probably my two biggest platforms. And Chris, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm at Castahead at castahead.net, but in Instagram, Castahead, Twitter, Aheadcast, hit any of that stuff, and we got a link that can, spits out all the places, all the tubes that we're on, and I love to connect with anyone on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, and I can't wait. Dr. I can't wait for you to be on Amazon. This is and I can't wait to, if you will allow us to help you, there's a great community as well of influencers. It still is, pretty much a small town, and, shout out to that Facebook group as well, the Amazon Live Creators group with Melody Monty and Chris P. Giles. They do a great job with a ton of influencers, lots of great information, because it's all about like rising that tide, and we all will benefit from it.
Amazing. I mean, this feels so seriously like a Christmas to me right now. And so thank you so much.
Ho, ho.
Thank you.
Know. Ho, ho, ho. Yes. So thank you so much for sharing so many great tips with us. And everyone loved it. I loved it. People who are watching the replay will love it. So hopefully many people are going to do the homework and join you guys live on Amazon Live. So thank you so much again, Jim and Chris. This is incredible. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks,
Dr.
And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. So see you guys next Wednesday or Thursday, same time, same location. Take care. Bye.